Well, good morning, everybody. I'm at the cabin and it's a gorgeous day. Look at the sun coming up over there on the ridge. Well, today it's a nice day to do some boiling for my maple sap. So got lots of sap this year. The runs have been really good, very exciting. And the red-winged blackbirds are back and the seagulls are back. So it's gonna be just a gorgeous day. The river here behind me, the bay, it is breaking up. You can hear the cracking and popping of all the ice and stuff like that. So spring is here. It's now April and it's pretty cold this morning, -10 out here. He's got his cool goggles on, exploring this morning. He's happy about that. So today I'm going to show you guys my my new setup, my evaporator setup that I've been using to boil down the maple sap. And it's a pretty slick thing, way better than what I've been using in the past. In the past I've been using kind of like, you know, roasting pans or, you know, turkey fryers and stuff like that, but not a whole lot of surface area in the turkey fryer. So, you know, this will be a lot better. So we'll go take a look at it. First off, we'll make some breakfast. So I'm gonna make a little omelet with some cheese, olives, onions, and tomato. So that's gonna be pretty darn good. It smells great already. Chilly morning this morning. Well, it's not too bad right now. As I'm making breakfast, it's already warming up to about -6 in the sun. So it's gonna be a good day. And the buckets are full again. So as I said in my earlier video and predicted, this is gonna be a bumper year for maple syrup, and it is. But I don't know how much longer we're gonna have. I mean, the snow is going like really quickly. And if we have a huge warm up, you know, the season might be over faster than we think. So I'll take it while I can get it. Always a stressful part, flipping over the omelet, but I didn't mess it up that badly. Well, here it is. Got a little fire going underneath there. Holds a lot of liquid. I was going to do this with some cinder blocks, but just kind of made do with what we have here at the cabin. Some field rock. So the pails are full. So it's going to be a long day of boiling, but hopefully things go faster with having a lot more surface area. And the really handy thing about this is I've got a 3/4 inch ball valve to kind of take off the sap once it gets to where I want it to be. Finish. I'll probably take it home to finish up because it's a little bit more controlled. I could do it here on the propane stove, I suppose, but that would go through a lot of propane. So, yeah, it's a slick little thing. See some steam already starting on the surface of the sap. Sap was frozen today on the top parts of the buckets because it's so cold, but the sun today, oh my gosh, it's so warm. It's like a beautiful day. So I'm just going to hang out here by, you know, the fire pit and read and just enjoy the tail end of the snow and blue skies. To get this going really hot, I've got the little fan, off-grid fan that I have for the cabin blowing on the fire. Get it going nice and hot. As you can see, things are coming along nicely. Yeah, this is heating up way faster than my little turkey boiler. This is a great idea. I don't know, I've wanted to do this for years, but here we go. Always investing in my maple syrup hobby. Well, that's the time of year it happens like this. Stuck in the mud puddle. Oh boy. Nothing a little elbow grease couldn't fix. See some foams building up as things boil off, so I just like to kind of scoop some of it off so that we don't lose some surface area to boil. It's starting to get a different color to it too. You can see when the steam goes down, it's kind of like a light yellow color. It's like we're boiling down just nicely. I think it's down about 1.5 inches so far. So nice sitting by the fire, so nice and warm. Well, I've been doing this for a really long time now, over a decade, and I just love doing this. Even, how my life gets really hectic and things like that, I still find time to get out here and, tap the maple trees and make some syrup for the year. It just makes me feel really good and just grounds me back with the earth again. And I don't know, brings back good memories. I don't know, do you guys have good memories about, maybe going to a maple farm and having some, taffy on the ice or something like that? Maple sugar, tasting the fresh sap. I know one of my fondest memories actually was fairly recently. This was basically literally, tell you a story, I think it was like the week, or basically a couple days before the entire province of Ontario shut down due to COVID. And I was just on a backcountry drive, and I decided I just came upon a maple farm. And I just drove in the driveway, just whatever, gonna go check it out. They weren't even really open yet, to be honest, to the public. But I just drove in and kind of went into their little shop. And I went in, and the older gentleman that basically has had the farm for a long time, he's in his 80s, was there. And yeah, it was great. We gave me a tour of the entire facility, sort of the more modern production with the reverse osmosis and sort of, the big pump rooms and stuff like that. Just amazing. They've got like thousands of trees they're tapping, right? So I got to see the big evaporator pan, got to see, the tanks where they pull off the water. It's just distilled water. It's like perfectly clear, clean water to drink. Then we went out into the woods and we saw sort of the old-fashioned way they used to do it, like a big old kettle and the buckets on the trees and stuff like that. And, they have a lot of like models set up, like an old, like a slice through an old maple and how many times it's been tapped, and where you can see where it's kind of, where the taps have gone in, you can see where the trees kind of knitted together that area. And it was really interesting. Some of the big pans they had where, there's like a little float, and then as soon as the sap comes in, it goes through this like little density gradient and boiling off, just kind of like what I'm doing here, but just kind of massive scale. And they had a big giant wood stove underneath it, and they're just literally feeding trees into it to kind of keep it nice and hot and boiling. And I'll never forget, that day. I was there by myself. Like, it was just like the people that owned the property and me. And he pulled off, some nice, the boil from the day, just some nice fresh hot maple syrup. Wasn't even quite finished yet, but he's like, here, have this. And it was in this little metal container, like you put like a ketchup in or something like that at a restaurant anyways. And so I take a little sip and, sterilized by fire. We were kind of joking at the time about, COVID. Oh, well, this will hot maple syrup. I'll sterilize the little container. And so I had, I had some of the maple syrup there, and it was some of the best maple syrup I've had my entire life. I think just because of the whole experience, right? And, after that, everything kind of shut down, right? So that was pretty amazing. They're doing well. They had a lot of damage from the tornadoes that went across eastern Ontario. But they've recovered, and they're out boiling today even, and having tours in their sugar bush with the horses and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a really, really memorable experience. So let me know if you guys down below in the comments have memorable experiences during maple season. Did someone order Uber Eats to the Sugar Shack? This is lunch today. Got some pickles and carrots and chicken sandwich with guacamole. Oh, doesn't that look good? This is some of the maple sap from one of the buckets froze. Well, this is probably mostly water part of it. Very low sugar content. Maurice just loves this. Enrichment for him to cool him down. It gets really hot in the sun. Nice black fur. One thing that you always underestimate is the amount of wood or fuel you need for this project. It's always very, very fuel intensive, this kind of thing. I think that's why, maple syrup is so expensive. There's like the fuel costs, there's the time involved, and all the equipment, right? So getting a little low on wood today, but with the Derico, the tornadoes, we had plenty of wood for burning in the woods. But the chopped stuff's getting a little bit low, but it's okay. You can start to see through there. Beautiful kind of amber color of the sap. So hard to see, but oh, there it is. Ooh-wee, look at that. We're getting there. I'm so glad I got this little evaporator pan. It is making the job go by so quickly compared to previous years. I mean, leaps and bounds ahead of where I was in past years trying to boil things down here. A little cap full of last year's maple syrup to remind me all this hard work will pay off. Now to make maple taffy, it's an awesome thing. what you got to do is you got to heat up the maple syrup to above, you know, the boiling point. You got to get it to actually 112 to 115 degrees Celsius. And you can kind of drizzle it over the snow and get a wooden popsicle stick or just a stick and roll it all up and eat it while it's still warm. Good stuff. Wow. I wonder how many liters I'm going to get this year, but it's weather like this is going to keep going really well. Next week now we're going to get to plus 10, so we'll see what happens there, but this is worth it. Mr. Chippy's out of hibernation, or Miss Chippy. It's always a good sign. Pretty soon the bears will be out. Just taking a bit of a break from boiling there to come out and harvest some poplar buds. So they have very good anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties. I make it into a salve. So I did a video on that last year. I harvested from these trees and you can't really tell. They're doing really, really well. The newer generation of them is right there. Such a really nice smell, and it's very sticky kind of resin to it. Will kind of stain your fingers brown. Really sticky, so you want to be careful when you're harvesting because you might get that all over your clothes, so you don't want that. But oh, it's such a beautiful, peaceful day to do this. Really nice. Snow is amazing right now. It's just this crystalline snow. It's so nice. Oh, not gonna be here much longer. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to do my annual walk in the snow with bare feet. I think the next time I'm here I'll do that. It's my final farewell. Well, there it is. So this is nearly finished syrup. I have to take this home because I left my refractometer at home to sort of, I want to finish it perfectly this year. So we'll make sure that the sugar's at 66 bricks. So I'll just boil this down in a little bit more controlled fashion, but take a look at that. I think that's going to be a beautiful golden color. We'll see once it's all filtered out, it'll clear up right away and we'll find out. So this is the sap basically at home on a little stove here, and we're just boiling it until we get to a point where it's 66 bricks in terms of sugar content. And we're almost there, 104 Celsius or 219 Fahrenheit. I'm going to be testing this maple syrup really soon. This is my little $30 refractometer. You just put a few drops of the maple syrup there, and then we'll look up through a light into here, and there will be a little gradation to sort of check the sugar content. I don't know if you guys can see that, but at 66 bricks, there we are, where that little yellow line goes up to. And this is what I have so far. Doesn't that look great? Grade A golden maple syrup. This is the kind of color you won't really find in the stores. It's really light. And I love it. So delicious, very light mapley flavor. There are several colors for grades of sap. So we've got golden, medium, dark, and very dark. So I think like usually early in the season it's going to be golden. So we'll see what it turns out to be, but we might have a little bit of medium there. So very exciting. And let me tell you, this pan worked amazingly well. What I did, just because there's a little bit of stuff from the fire, like little bits of ash in there, I put another pre-filter on the end of the nozzle when I opened it up to drain out the pan there, and that worked really, really well. So I'm super happy with this method, and I'm really glad that I finally broke down and bought an evaporator pan. And that snow I was showing you earlier makes it really easy to clean up. Just use it almost as like an SOS pad, just scrubbing down the pan, and then I just use my little spatula here to kind of scoop it out and toss it in the snow. Well, thanks so much for tuning in today to see me just reminisce about maple season and boil off some sap here to make some delicious maple syrup. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.